A study done at Oxford University found out that 45% of all current jobs will disappear in the next 10 years, with some of them being completely automated or at least upgraded to a point where a fraction of the workforce is needed. If you're currently working in either of these industries, it might be a smart call to look for alternatives. Here are 15 jobs that will probably disappear or be automated in the next 10 to 20 years. Number 1. Drivers. Let me put it this way. If your job consists of driving any type of machinery, automobile or vehicle, you're gonna be out of a job soon. Taxi drivers, bus drivers, truck drivers, Uber drivers, and delivery drivers are all on the verge of complete automation. These are the people who are going to be pushed out first, because a self-driving truck doesn't need to stop for rest, is attentive to the road 24/7, and we already have the technology. In the near future, riding in a car will be like getting in an elevator. You just press a button and it takes you to wherever you want to go. Number 2, farmers. Farming was huge when it came to employment numbers back in the day. This has changed dramatically though. You might still see farming as human labor intensive in the underdeveloped parts of the world. But on a macro level, this has already been automated, with very few specially trained individuals that operate heavy machinery from the comforts of the office via wireless connections. Bearing the title of farmer in the near future will be as highly ranked as banker or hedge fund manager, since there'll only be a handful of people having the oligopoly when it comes to what you eat. Number 3, printers and publishers. The newspaper is dead. Traditional media is suffering as the internet is eating up everything. You no longer need to get your news from the papers. You get them via Twitter or live streams as they're happening. All traditional magazines are fighting for their lives not to survive one versus the other, but to survive as a whole. Information is free, and there are very few publishers where the trust in the brand is enough to keep the motors going. With the democratization of news sources, big brands are struggling to find their place in this online-first environment. Number 4, cashiers. America alone has 8 million people working as cashiers and in-store salespeople. These people are going to be out of a job sooner than they think. I know you've seen the self-checkout stations, and they still have someone supervising them, and they're buggy now and then, but we're not far from a total takeover of the machines in this space. A corner store with 0 humans involved, where you just walk in, get what you need, and walk out, with everything you bought being automatically deducted from your credit card. Sensors are on the rise, and the tech needs to only be a little better than the human counterpart for the switch to be made. Number 5. Travel agents. When's the last time you went to a travel agency to book a flight? The likes of Skyscanner took over the flight ticket industry, Booking.com over the hotel booking industry, and Airbnb is disrupting the hotel business as a whole. There's no need for a third person to book the flight or hotel room for us. We can do it ourselves, or better yet, you can tell Siri to book it for you. Number 6. Manufacturing workers. When the Industrial Revolution hit, all the people working the fields moved to work in factories, handcrafting the machines that would make our lives easier. Back then, multiple humans were working in tandem to put together the end product, while today you're watching simple software at work. We heard this great quote a while back that stuck with us, and it goes like this: "The factory of the future will only have 1 human and 1 dog. The human will be there to feed the dog, and the dog will be there to keep the human from touching the machines." Number 7. Dispatchers. I know you're probably thinking of the days when someone had to manually connect you to a different line in order to talk to someone, but an astonishingly high number of people are still working as dispatchers today. The role of the dispatcher is to coordinate the field operators, so things run smoothly for everybody. Remember only 5 years ago when you had to call someone and ask for a cab? How do you ask for an Uber or a Lyft today? One algorithm making their way into your particular niche of dispatching, and your job is over. Number 8. Waiting tables and bartending. Okay, not all of them will be gone, but the bulk surely have one foot out the door already. Of course, there's the need for social interaction, but that's not always the case. Sometimes you just want to sit down, have the food arrive at your table as soon as possible, enjoy a particular mix of alcoholic beverages, and then leave. All of which can be successfully replaced by a carefully documented algorithm and an iPad. More and more restaurants are jumping in on this trend all around the world. Number 9. Bank tellers. To be honest, we don't go to the bank anymore, or very rarely when a visit is really needed. Otherwise, we check out our balance on our smartphones. If you want to grab cash, you go to an ATM. You can open a bank account to most banks in the world online, and only if you're looking for specialized services, you might need to meet in person. And even then, you might get the job done with a video call. Number 10. Military pilots and soldiers. The military is the most sensible industry to innovation. It is the first one to embrace it and deploy it. If back in the day wars were decided based on who had the largest number of troops, today it's a technology play. You no longer see people holding bayonets and riding horses into battle because that would be inefficient. Drones can hit a target more accurately than any human could without endangering the life of the pilot who's sitting comfortably in a chair on the other side of the world. Number 11. Fast food workers. Remember when people were asking for $15 an hour to work at McDonald's? That's when automation kicks in. All the people protesting the low wages for unskilled jobs will be the first ones to be hit if such an increase in pay does happen. Fast food jobs are probably the easiest to automate out of the list, and to be honest, it would have happened anyway, but companies didn't do it right away because they didn't have any incentive to mess with something that's working fine right now. But now with all the protests, the government might actually give in, and that's when the wave of automation takes over. Number 12. Telemarketer. Have you noticed that there are already fewer and fewer telemarketers? Their entire industry has been taken over by targeted ads all around the internet and on all of your devices, specially constructed based on the information the tech giants have gathered from your use on their platforms. Ads are getting smarter as they learn more and more from you, and that's why telemarketers are obsolete. Number 13. Accountants and tax preparers. If it's one thing we've learned so far from this list, it's that boring and repetitive jobs will be taken over by algorithms. What's the role of an accountant? To go through your raw data and organize it. That's like the favorite thing to do for algorithms. That's where they shine. Even if it would cost $15 billion to create a highly sophisticated AI that would get the job done perfectly, that piece of software would pay for itself in under 2 years. That's why AI engineers are going after accountants, lawyers, and medical professionals. Number 14. Stock traders. The stock market is one of those places, and the people behind the biggest funds in the world have deep enough pockets to capitalize on it. Let's say you want to buy a particular stock. You go to your favorite trading platform or secured portfolio management dashboard, you fill in the info with how much you want to buy at said trading price and hit buy. In the time it takes for the signal to reach the servers and approve the order, the bots have already realized you're going to purchase that stock. They buy it for themselves, trade it between themselves, and then sell it to you at a noticeably bigger price. Welcome to the world of micro-trading, where bots always win. Number 15. Construction workers. As technology progresses, we can see that construction workers will follow the same path as those who used to work in the farming industry in the past. Unless you're the owner of the enterprise or one of the specialized employees who are further down the line of automation, the future doesn't seem like a welcoming place for you. As always, our videos are not prophecies, but conversations we want to start with you guys. What other jobs do you think will disappear due to automations? We want to know what your take on this is.